welcome to the second last episode of the Should I Play This Game podcast for 2024. This is episode 312, or the 9th of December.
Second last?
Second last, yes.
Are we doing one on the weekend before Christmas?
Why wouldn't we?
That's a fair point. I wasn't sure. Okay. Word. Threw that off. Sorry.
How are you anyway? Thanks for interrupting, man.
I had a shave this morning.
I can see.
What
was this?
Otherwise, okay. Hey?
Why? Was there a reason for it?
Because it was giving me the shit.
Oh, okay.
It was just fucking annoying me, and I can't be bothered like trimming it, so I just go, fuck it, it's all gone. And then I leave it for about 8 weeks, and then it's back again. It's what I do. What else is there? I got nothing. How's tricks?
Yeah, I'm alright. But it's the same.
Hey, there's a whole heap of shit not on your pool table anymore.
Yes, I have. Well, my renovations are not happening this year. They're happening in early next year now. So, as a result of doing all that, I was able to basically put my house back together.
Wait, if you're still having them done, why put it all back just to redo it?
They're 4 weeks away before they get done. And Christmas is in the middle, so I want to actually have the house to be not just a pile of crap for 4 weeks where nothing's actually going to happen.
I go the other way. Oh, fuck it. It's delayed? Oh, well, might as well just leave it there.
Yeah. But that's all happening next year, so we shall see what that does. Shouldn't affect the podcast or anything said in a way, shape, or form, but you never know with these things.
Fucking power saws and shit going in the background.
But no, other than that, it's all starting to slowly wind down for the rest of the year. Fucking Jesus. Anyway, we are into, it's been 3 weeks since we did one of these because real life got in the way last week. So
that's right, because that's right. I streamed and did a video last Sunday.
Yes, because I had stuff to do that couldn't be avoided. So, as a result of that, we will go to your games first then.
Wunderbar. Oh, actually, you want to go back to the other shot?
Okay.
Because I was looking for the right opportunity. I got more controllers.
Of course you did.
So this is the Crooked Neo S. Crooked, CRKD, a company, I think they're in the States. They've got a Switch dock as well. This is a Famicom colored Switch controller. I like the color, and it's got little back paddles on the back. It doesn't feel too bad. It feels pretty good. It's a little rectangular, but like it feels pretty good. So that's not bad. I like that one's all right. Where's the controller? I accidentally turned it on too. I got this little thing, the Crooked Atom, because I thought it'd be funny. This is very small. I could almost play video games with my niece or niece or nephew with this thing. It's not bad. But that's pretty neat. And this thing finally arrived. Blah 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 blah. The gun handle mouse. For first person shooters. So I literally opened the box today. I've had it sitting in this room for like 2 weeks. So I'm going to do something with this in the holidays. Have a bit of a look at it and see how it goes. It actually feels pretty well made. Like just holding it and stuff like that.
Is it? What's it attached to? Does it attach to a disc? It's obviously got a platform there, but is that?
So there's the little. Apparently, this is magnetic. I don't buy the magnetic part, but it also has the slot for the wireless receiver in there, which I've already taken out and I've got it sitting next to the computer. So, like, you slide it onto the end, and it's basically like your hand rest.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then that's the right mouse button, the left mouse button for shooting. Scroll wheel on the side here.
Oh, yes.
The box says this is the fire button, but I don't know what that actually does.
Okay.
If it's like the middle button or something.
Yeah, maybe.
And there's a DPI button on top.
Okay. Yep.
So
You're obviously not
I'm going to
moving.
put
You're
like
obviously not moving the pointer around with this because you're still using a.
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to hook it up in the holidays at some point, and have a look at it with at least probably one game I can think of, and see how it goes. Because it might be like you sort of go this way to aim, and maybe you move it round as part of your looking. I don't know.
Weird.
I'm very curious how it ends up working. But if for nothing else, it's an incredibly interesting idea. It's got vibration on it too.
Okay.
So an incredibly interesting idea that I'm, really curious what happens with that. But we'll find out at some point in the holidays, which I've got 3 days left of work because I'm not going to be working when this goes live, on the day this goes live, because I'm getting a new chair delivered. And I'm not going to have it sitting at the front door or try and go pick it up in my car. It's another secret lab chair. I had to turn around and look at it. But it's different material.
Okay.
That's supposed to be super, super comfy. So that'll rock up hopefully by the time or way before this goes live. And I'll have a chance to check it out and sit on it and chill. And then go from there. But you wanted to talk about games.
You're specific.
Boy, howdy. Are there games? Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I had a quick look at because the Game Pass app can display hour count. I've got just under 80 hours in this. I hit the 3rd prestige level today at the time of recording. But the track to actually prestige is way shorter and way quicker than I've noticed in any Call of Duty game I've played with any sense of regularity. I played through the campaign because I wanted to unlock some stupid shit to put on guns and stuff in the multiplayer. So I tried bolting through the campaign, which probably not the best way to A, expose yourself to it, and B, try and take it in. But holy shit, man, that story is fucking ridiculously stupid.
They always are.
Like, yeah. Well, I haven't played one. It's been a very long time since I played a Call of Duty campaign. There's some forced stealth. So you get, quote unquote, game over when you're detected. There's some forced zombies. And they seem to try and take a page from Remedy doing some either Alan Wake or some Control type stuff, which is super bizarre. There is a safe house that you go to between missions, and there's a series of puzzles in there that unlock, I don't know, something. I can't remember what specifically. But the actual, even though I had to look up, A, where most of them are, and B, what the solution for a couple of them was. But it's super fascinating that they did this really intricate little puzzle sequence to have these little unlocks. And the one thing that is kind of neat is you go through the campaign, you see the multiplayer maps before they are the multiplayer maps in the campaign.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of them are sorry, did I say in the campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant in the multiplayer. So you'll see the multiplayer maps in the campaign, and then you'll see how they become the way they are in multiplayer.
Okay, yep.
So a lot of the maps get relatively bombed out and look messed up in different ways. And then as you play through the campaign, you see why that is the case. Like there's a part where you go to Saddam Hussein's safe and you steal back a chemical weapon. And as you're flying away, it gets hit with an airstrike. And that's how that level becomes as fucked up as it is in the multiplayer.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
But like I said, my reasoning for playing it is almost as stupid as the actual story itself. This is like, I want this little dangling thing for my gun. I'm going to play through the campaign. So, yeah. But I've been playing a bunch of the multiplayer, particularly with a mate from work. And that's been really fun. And we've been trying to tackle zombies on the Saturday special. And it has gone badly multiple times. Again, for a stupid reason, because we want to unlock a skin for one of the operators, which is real dumb. But I don't know. It's still fun. And I like the movement options that they brought in this year and the way the actual combat feels. I don't think I've enjoyed it this much since Advanced Warfare, maybe, which was the one with the running and the jump jets, I think. Either Advanced or Infinite, whichever one that was. I can't remember. I have finished Tactical Breach Wizards. I have 3 achievements left, and they're hidden achievements. And 2 of them are tied to the final fight, which the final fight's a bit of a motherfucker, but it's really clever. I completed all the confidence goals with all of the different operators, which just means challenges in each level that are more puzzle-like, and you get the ability to buy different costumes for each of the operators as you play through. Weirdly enough, even though there's 6 operators in the key art, there's only 5 in the game. So the dude standing here with his bat, or the spiked bat and the Jason mask in the key art, actually isn't one of your team members. So I don't know why he's there, unless there was an intention to do something with him. The campaign is fucking fantastic. It's super well written, in a way, both from just a genuine narrative qualitative perspective, and they also do some really clever humorous moments as well that are sort of very wink and nod of, we know you're playing a video game. So that there's some real cleverness there. The actual campaign and the different missions and the way the different events play out and what you do to make them play out is really quite interesting as well. It takes that sort of puzzly element of Into the Breach and merges it a lot more with the XCOM tactical combat layer to become its own thing. And it's so satisfying, particularly when you get once you figure out, okay, how do I do this specific goal? How do I end this mission before the end of turn 1? And sometimes it'll be sitting there trying to repeat or slightly adjust the way your movements work out in that turn. And then when it clicks, it's like, oh, this is how I do it. There are a couple I had to look up because I wasn't quite sure. But this is, I feel like at this point, is going to probably end up very high on my top 10 list because I think this is fucking amazing. And I really like the look of it as well. The low detail, low poly art that it has in game is really quite nice as well. But yeah, that thing's really well put together. I would like some additional DLC or even a Tactical Breach Wizards 2. It is a very self-contained story. So there's a bad guy, you're trying to get them. By the end of the game, you get them. But there is obviously room and openness to probably do some more. About 30 hours all up because a few missions opened up after the last one. A few of the more puzzle-based missions and a couple of survival ones. But yeah, really, really neat. It's so good. Black Myth Wukong. I actually ran into a real fuck you boss in chapter 2. It wasn't particularly cheap. It was just like that sort of soulsy sort of hard. That fucked it up. Oh no, what have I done? There we go. In a way, there's just okay, yeah, it's one of these, and it's a good one of these, and I figured it out and killed it on Saturday before, and made some more progression. Some of the parts, there are some pathways that I forgot about because I've been sort of fits and starts with this thing. There are a few bosses I didn't get, but fortunately, quite handily, Rock Paper Shotgun has a list of all of the bosses in the game, so you can find them and go and for me, it's finding them. Knowing where they are and how to actually access them, that's the hard thing for me. Once I get to them, it's not that bad to try and kill them. But I think this is a very good one of those. Like I said, even though I really want to play that Elden Ring DLC, it's not going to happen because I'm not getting to that point in that game. So short of that, putting that over here for a moment, probably among the best Souls-likes of this year, I would say. I started Crypt Custodian, which is number 1 from the developer of the Metroidvania Islets from a couple of years ago, ISLETS. So very similar art style, but it's more of a sort of top-down Metroidvania action RPG.
Oh, okay.
I got to a point where I'd thought I'd killed all the bosses that I could, accessed everything I could. Everything on the map seemed either locked or inaccessible. And I'm sitting there going, what the fucking fuck? What haven't I done? Why can't I? What? And then I looked it up this morning, or on Sunday morning, and forgot that I had an ability that would really easily allow me to solve what appeared on the surface really difficult, but what appeared to solve a problem or puzzle really simply. And then I was like, you dumbass. Because I forgot I had an ability, number one, well, for that specific puzzle, and didn't realize that ability would work in that way.
Mm.
So I put a semi-blistering comment up on Steam message boards going, I'm at this point and it's fucked and I can't figure out what to do next and God fucking damn it. And then I also followed that up with, I'll probably figure out the solution and it's probably stupid simple and I'll probably kick myself for it. And lo and behold, I did. But outside of that, the top-downiness of it makes it a little bit different from that more typical search action style, but it still has platforming in it, despite being top-down. It's quite well written too. Like, you're this little cat. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And you die, and the crypt you're in is the afterlife. Pluto. And the very first thing you do is you run into
Pluto.
God.
Pluto's who you play as well.
Pluto, thank you. And yeah, the godlike character is not Karen, but it's something like that. And she's like, have you been a good cat or a bad cat? And I'm like, I've been a very good cat. And she's like, yep. Oh, I'm about to tick you off. And then in the very first moments in the tutorializing, it's like, you smashed all my statues. You're a bad cat. Fuck off. So because of that, she's made me the custodian of Purgatory. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, I'm busting up piles of dirt to get little piles of dirt for currency, and currently trying to make friends to break into her palace. Mm-hmm. But I really like the art style to it. The playing of it I really dig the playing of it. I don't know if it's going to end up on the top 10, but I'm really enjoying it so far. So I'm just sticking with it. Last game. And this almost guaranteed will be the last time I talk about it, except for probably game of the year, is Balatro. Mm-hmm. I went back to that a little bit on my laptop because I had the split deck, the Spade Hearts deck, which was half the deck is spades, half the deck is hearts. And I'm like, fuck that. I want to get these last two difficulty tiers and get that done at least. Finished the orange. The orange one took a few attempts because of the nature of the roguelike-y part of it, you just run into arbitrary bullshit roadblocks that really just go, and really end up frustrating the hell out of you. Like, I had a build that was going quite well, and I was able to, with the number of hands, get to the blind levels, and then the final boss blind was like multiplied the chip requirement by about 10.
Oh, okay.
And it tanked me because I couldn't get it. And because that deck is very flush centric, I had a Joker that was fantastic where the first hand you discard every round, it levels up. So, and then I found a card that copied that ability. So I had the flush set to like level 22 or level 24. But trying to get 250,000 chips compared to trying to get 4.5 million chips is very different. So you run into a real fucker. And then I got that because I got a banana multiplier that was X3, a card that adds 0.25 multiplier for every blind you skip, and then 2 copy cards. One copying the X3, one copying what ended up being X5. So I was like, bang, bang, just smashing the shit out. I'm like, yay! And now I think every achievement left is like sub 3% unlock. But Balatro is still really good. It's just, like I said, that roguelike-y nature of it, throwing those arbitrary roadblocks in your way and just in a way that's super frustrating. In a way you're just like, really? which is the biggest downfall, the biggest downside to that game. Everything else is so intelligently designed. But if you didn't have those roadblocks, would you play it for as long? Hard to say. But yeah, I tried playing one of the challenge runs, and because I've used that split deck for so long, getting a normal deck of cards, I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I just gave up, and I'm like, I'm probably not going to play Balatro again. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And I got some must listens, but I'll hit them in the beginning of the end.
Alrighty then. So...
What about you? I know of at least 2 things you've played. Because I've seen the pop-ups.
Let's have a look into that. I'm not too sure why that's happening.
Graham wanted to start the show again.
So it's hitting the... I don't know what's going on there. Anyway. So, yeah, Satisfactory. I'm still playing it. Not much more to be added. Yeah, 1,735 hours in my save now. So.
Fuck. Have you hit the final tier yet? Like, finished the final tier?
No, I'm still doing other bits and pieces. So. I'm about to start doing that stuff, though. So I've got to a point where I can start doing it. So, yeah. I'm gonna keep playing that until it comes out on console. Not to play it on console, but to play it with the controller on PC, just to see how they get that controller scheme right. But
is the controller support not on for PC yet?
No, never has been. No, they've never done it. Which it makes sense considering the type of game that it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they announced the console version, they said that obviously the controls for that will flow into the PC version when that comes out. So, because I've played the game on Epic for most of the time I've had it, none of the achievements are unlocked on Steam. Like, none.
Oh.
I'd have to literally start the game from scratch on Steam with a new save to actually get some of those achievements. So I might actually do that at some point, just to see what the game is actually like from the beginning now. Because I've played it, obviously, for 4 years now, 3.5, 4 years, whatever long it's been. So all of the stuff that most people will be experiencing the first time when it got to 1.0, I did 2 years ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago. Right now they're doing their Fixmas event, which is they've always done like a Fixmas event each year. But I've unlocked the entire thing, so there's literally nothing for me to do in that game. When it becomes to that particular event. So yeah, it's interesting that they haven't done anything. They made it look really nice what they've done, but they haven't added anything to it for players like me. So that I can tell so far. But yeah. So yeah.
Have you been doing the campaign stuff yet or no?
Well, the campaign stuff is just there. Like, it's not as if you're actively doing it. Like the you might recall from the couple of checkouts we've done. If you've got that AI person talking to you, that's basically that's where the story comes from. So as you progress, the project nature of that, the things you're doing, everything you're building for is to build this big project, which is sending stuff up this space elevator. As you progress that part of the game, that's where the dialogue comes into it, sort of thing. So as I haven't done anything more of that recently, I haven't seen much more of that. But once I complete it's 5 phases. The first 4 phases were done 12 months ago, basically, if not longer. The 5th phase came into play when they introduced 1.0, and there's 4 things I've got to build, and I've already built 1 of the 4. So then the 3 that I need to build, I've got the base components to start building them, so I can just start building them essentially, and then getting that into the space elevator. So it's not something that I'm actively progressing at the moment, but bits and pieces I'm doing will lead me to be able to do it relatively quickly when I want to do it, sort of thing. So
your playing is more for your own satisfaction at this point, for your own factory, rather than trying to achieve the goals.
Yeah, correct. I mean, they're both in parallel, if that makes sense. But the reason why I'm playing it is not because I want to get those components built.
Yeah, it's the same as like when people play Minecraft, and there is actually a progression to it. Yeah, and there's a final boss and all that shit. But most people don't even get to that point because they're just building shit and building really elaborate things and stuff like that. Yeah, are the mods working all now?
Yeah, the mods have been really solid for the last couple of months now. So yeah, well, the game is out mid-September,
September 10th.
September 10th. So it's been probably a good month to 6 weeks. Probably took them about a month, I
Okay.
think, from memory to get them to get the mod up, the mod manager updated so it could function within your game, and then the mods have slowly came in really pretty quickly after that. But
Why do
um,
I feel like this was information you said in the Solo Factory videos and I just haven't watched them yet?
I don't really talk about the mods I've been playing. I don't use. I
Okay.
mean, I use them, but I don't talk much about them that much. Um, so yeah, so I mean, I've
Is that
basically
something you might do? Like one of the Solo Factory videos, just do a bit of a rundown of the mods you do use?
probably will because one of the mods I use is it it's called remote fix it remote monitoring, something like that. And
Mm.
basically, what it does, I don't know if I think the game, because it's Unreal Engine based, um, has the ability to populate a bunch of you could what's called API calls, so
Yep.
application program interfacing. So you can actually basically make calls to the game, and it will tell you a bunch of stats about the game. So
Mm.
I can actually make a call, and it will tell me everything I've got about like every single machine, what it's currently doing. Like it's
Mm.
got these ingredients in it, it's making this production output. So I'm feeding that all into a bloody a database, and I've basically built my own web front end, so I can actually monitor the game in another screen what I'm just doing stuff. So I've got all that sort of stuff. So it's just a bit of sort of fun, completely unnecessary, but bit of fun that I
Mm.
like to do. So yeah, I probably would do a session like maybe do a video like that.
Because I mean, like the to talk about the business, not that there's no business on this, but those videos do quite well. So I think maybe there'd be an interest in seeing what you're using as far as a
Yeah.
mod perspective and just running through them. That I mean that could be a really short part of just an existing video that you
Yeah. Yeah.
have go up.
Mm.
But yeah.
But yeah, so I'm still playing that. We'll be playing that for quite some time to come.
Mm.
So yeah, I've got. So basically, I built my factory is um, essentially a city. Like what we call from the checkouts I've done is basically it's production towers that are sort of
Mm.
Art Deco in their look in a way. Is what I've tried to make them look. It's not perfectly Art Deco, but it's kind of in that way. Um, so the main production city is essentially four regions: north, south, east, and west now. And it's got four production like multiple towers in each area, sort of thing. Um, and then outside of that is the industrial part of the whole factory, which is the not necessarily grimy, run down stuff, but it's dark and it's dank and that kind of stuff. Whereas the
Mm.
other areas are all white and pristine and perfectly clean and stuff like that. So yeah, so I've just got a little bit of an idea of how I want the thing to look, and I'm working up. The main thing I'm working on at the moment in the game is to get to a a central storage hub. So rather than
Mm.
having everything go to a central storage point, and from there you can get any item you need. You can go there and get it. With this up 1.0, they actually introduced their own version of teleporting. I had it via mod before. So the other thing I'll end up doing is building in um, a portal area. They just literally call it portal, like main portal and
Mm.
satellite portal. And so there'll be also a part of the central storage hub where you'll be able to take a portal to the other parts of the factory where the big manufacturing stuff is happening. So yeah, I've got this idea in my head of what I want to build, and that's really what I'm doing in the game is that stuff rather than
Yeah.
the phase of the project. And even if I did was to finish the phase of the project, I'd still be just doing it anyway. So
Mm.
it's kind of just what it is. So, but yeah, I'm still obviously enjoying it. So, I Am Future. I played a bit more of that. Now it's in 1.0, though they hasn't updated it. I should fix that. Um, yeah, that probably to show you what that game is now that's out 1.0 because it is very.
Mm.
It's not different to how it started because we did do a check of that quite some time ago, but
I think
um,
we did check out of the demo.
maybe it was a demo which put it probably back up
Yeah.
80 months ago. So um, so when that game like that, I was how to even describe it. So the game has you doing a lot of the repetitive stuff. Like it is one of those
Mm.
games, which has a lot of repetitive stuff in it. And one of the the game up until 1.0 had was all these locked off areas that just literally had little coming soon icons on them. But now they've opened up that there are vast areas now that are there that were like not obvious that was how it was going to extend, if that makes sense. So there's a bit where you could see that it had coming soon, and I just thought, oh, that's just another area that's maybe a bit bigger, maybe about half the size of the starting area. But no, what it was that, but then had an elevator that went down to another other area you couldn't even see.
Big elaborate biomes and stuff
Yeah,
like that
so
being in.
so it's quite interesting, like how that game has expanded to in terms of just the size and space it takes up. Um, the story, I've not progressed the story at all in what I've been doing. I've just been doing sort of maintenance of the whole thing. But the story is interesting. Like the main character is some sort of historical figure from the whole entire area. You play like as the character, and like the cover up there, and you can see there's a female version of the same character there. Um, and you're basically interacting with three NPCs of a sort, but they're not actual characters, they're not human characters. One's a fridge.
Like
Yeah,
intellect constructs or something.
yeah. Like one's a fridge. Um,
Yep.
one's like a jukebox kind of a looking thing, and the third one is like a in sort of amusement arcade you'll have just a a box, and inside that's like a human thing, like not a human itself, but like a puppet of some sort.
Like
And
the
that's
clown sort of thing.
yeah, like not like a clown, but like a mannequin style thing inside a container, and that you interact. That's the third character, and then there's that's the main story is delivered through those three, and then in the 1.0 they introduced this other fourth character, who's basically a big giant bomb.
Sweet.
So the story is actually kind of interesting, but I think because the way I've played the game over such a period of time with massive gaps, it's not really making a lot of sense from one thing to the next. And that's the one big downside of early access games is you can lose the complete thread of a game when story of a game you're playing because of the stop-start nature of it potentially, or you go, there's no content, I'll stop playing for 6 months. They produce a bunch of content that is really neat, like this one's done, and I'm just doing all that stuff and not even progress the story at all. So it's really weird. It's a really weird thing. I think it's going to be the same thing's going to happen. I think to Frontier Lights here for us. I think it's going to be a similar situation. I think, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, like I'm really digging it. I really do like it.
I've got this in my current backlog shelf on Steam, which is fucking ridiculous number deep. I don't know if I'm going to get to it before Game of the Year with some of the like other games, because I think the time investment, not to quote unquote get anything out of it, I think the time investment compared to all of the other games I want to get to, I don't know if I'm going to get to it, but I still want to play it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm currently at just over 54 hours.
Fuck!
Which is, that's a lot of time.
A lot.
I'm not too sure what the how long to beat would be on that one. I'm curious what that would actually be, because I mean you could probably go through that game relatively quickly, I suspect.
Sort of speed run the story.
If you just wanted to do the story, quote unquote, but I'm not too sure how easy that even, because a lot of it is gated behind progression of what you're doing in terms of upgrades of the machines and stuff like that. So it probably isn't. There are probably some parts you can't speed run too much, but.
So, looking it up, main story about 17 and a half hours.
Mm-hmm.
Main plus sides, 18 and a half. Completionist, 90.
Okay, that's interesting. So you can kind of do the story relatively quickly by the sounds of it. Yeah, okay.
Again, it depends on how much you're building, how much you're doing the maintenance part, and trying to explore everything.
Yeah, like there is, like you see in the cover art there, you've got this little rabbity dude wearing a helmet, not a helmet, a little straw hat. You can build those guys, and they can do a lot of the maintenance stuff for you. If you don't build them, you've then got to do it yourself, and it is relatively time consuming. So the trade-off is you've got to obviously have the materials and the ability to actually build the thing in the first place. So and sometimes those materials can be more useful in other things. So you've just got this trade-off all the time. But as I've now got so many areas opened up,
Mm.
I probably could build one of those things relatively quickly because I've got so much stuff. I can just go and get the material and the items relatively quickly. There are
I
some things
feel
hidden.
like
There are some things that you can only sort of purchase from the various merchants that are out in the world. You've got
mm,
effectively a drone that you can control of a sort, and fly around to merchants that have items to buy with coins that you you mine through a crypto miner. Um,
oh
and
fuck.
it just passively gets money. You don't have to do anything more than that. So as long as give
Mm.
it power, it'll make money. Um,
Put a 190 in it.
um, and yeah, so you can use that to get some of the other materials because not everything is available to be made or found in the environment you've got access to. You've got to go and
Mm.
buy it from these merchants. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a very interesting
I feel
structure.
like the game Undying is something you might dig. Although it's very much that zombie apocalypse style thing, but it does have that exploration sort of survivally element that this does as well. I don't know how much. I can't remember how much building there is. I never got that far in it.
Mm.
I played it for about 90 odd minutes, and there was a lot of exploration and digging through like car wrecks to find um, um, resources.
Yeah, I think the next game along this line that I'll get back to will be my Tom at Sandrock
Mm.
because I've started playing that in LX. Now that's 1.0 as well. So
And
let's go
speaking
on.
of survival games where you build shit,
No, not really.
oh, okay, that didn't quite work as a fucking segue.
Yeah, Astrobot. So I think we talked about this maybe in the last episode that game was quite expensive here in Australia at
Mm.
$110 in various most
110, 120.
110 $20 depending which retailer you went to. EB Games had a Black Friday sale, at that
Mm.
time. So bugger, it's a price that's just about right. It's
What'd
still a
you
bit.
get it for?
I got it for just over 80, just under 80, around 80.
Yeah, Amazon's had it kicking for about just under 90 for a while.
Yeah. So yeah. So I went and bought that probably a week ago now. And finally
Mm.
got to play it this morning for the first time. First time I actually turned on my PlayStation. I think this calendar year. I may have done it once before earlier in
Yeah,
the year.
last because I've been turning mine on for a couple of weeks because I was rewatching the Man vs. Food DVDs,
Oh, okay.
and
Yep.
it's really fucking funny because outside of Mike playing Cult of the Lamb, I've got 3 or 4 other people on my PlayStation friends list.
Mm,
You being one of them.
mm.
Over a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was.
So I was like,
Uh,
what the?
yeah. I just don't play it anymore. It's yeah.
Mm.
Um. But getting back to Astrobot. Astrobot is fucking awesome.
Yep.
Um. It's
Do you think
highly
it justifies the 120?
no shit no fuck no.
Okay.
It's an incredibly good platformer. Like it's
Yep.
really really good. Um. I find So, like, go back a step. So the game opens up. We might do a check out of this next week if it all finds out because I think I can start it again. Not too sure. We'll figure that out. Um, so the game starts out. You're effectively you're piloting a PlayStation 5 through
Yep.
space. It gets effectively attacked and crash lands on a planet. That's the opening cutscene essentially. And as a result of that, all the astrobots that are on the machine have now been scattered to you know, across this sort of galaxy area that you're interacting with. And effectively, you go to a zone, and then you go to a mission within that zone, and you've got to locate. So far, there've been either 7 or 5 astrobots per level. Um, they've got these puzzle pieces in each level too. So far, there's only been I think three in each one. I think. And that's
Mm.
basically looks like when you go back to the crash site of where you originally crashed. Um, you're basically putting that together in some sort of, I think either a puzzle or a photo or a picture. I'm not really sure. I think that's then going to turn into something that you can interact with in some way. I don't know what that is yet. I've not completed one yet to know. But when you get back to the crash site, depending on how many astrobots you've recovered, there are little they're not even puzzles. They're just things you can interact with. They require a certain number of astrobots to complete. So one was like and the thing like throughout the level there are each level there are effectively what look like square versions of the Pokeball, if that kind of makes sense. I'd have to show it to you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like they're not basically that's where you hit those and coins come out of them. Um, but you can also get. I mean, I think there've also been Astrobots have been stuck in one of them too at some point. But
Mm.
um, so so this particular one in this crash site, you needed 10 Astrobots to walk up to these um, like rocks in the ground, and the first one just lifted above his head. The second required two people to lift above their heads, therefore forming some stairs to the point where the thing you need to get to was located.
Yep.
So there's stuff like that. One of them had some Astrobots got stuck under a uptime to bowl kind of thing. I needed 10
Mm.
Astrobots to come along and lift it up so they could get to the Astrobots. So that sort of thing is in there. So I don't know what that means because so far um, that's expanded. I've done all the ones I can do in there. So whether there's more along the way as I progress through the various levels, I'm not really sure. In
Mm.
terms of the levels, each level, they are really really nice to look at. It's just a
Yeah.
lovely looking game, gorgeous game to look at. The music's damn good as well. I have not played a lot of it yet to really say a good overall of the whole soundtrack, but the music is really really good. Each mission level, I guess is probably a better term. Um, it's got the same things. You've got the ability. You've got um, an attack, which is very basic.
Mm.
That can destroy most enemies in one hit, so it's really relatively straightforward from that perspective. If you do get like attacked by some of the things, you're a one-hit kill,
Yep.
which is interesting. But it's the checkpointing is relatively good. The checkpointing is not just the game; it's like there are things you run up to and they go from red to blue
Mm.
to checkpoint it. Um, but we also the first two, like the first area you go to is something called Gorilla Zones, Gorilla something. And then inside that is two levels. In each level, there's so far there's been an ability you pick up that's just in that level only. Um, so the second one, for example, you walked up, you got through this area, and you opened up a chest, and you got a big pair of boxing gloves, and
Yeah.
they then allowed you to hit certain things, grip certain things, but it just gave you that. But that's the only time that ability has ever been. I've seen that ability so far. So if based on what I've seen, there's 5 areas. There's 300 bots to collect. That's the point. There's 300
Mm.
bots overall to collect. The first area's got 42 in it or something, or 47, something like that. So based on that, you're probably looking at 6 or 7 areas, I think, at that sort of number of each one. So and each area is going to have 6 or 7 missions to get those 40 odd
Mm.
bots. So if they've got a unique ability per level, and there's like 30 to 40 of these things, that's bloody impressive if they've got that much variety in this game. But I don't know if they can do that. I'm not too sure.
Top of my head, I think it's 6 to 8.
Okay, well, that's going to be a lot of
And they
repetitive.
use them in different ways, and they expand on them in different ways, and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I've not read anything about this game, so I don't really. I
Yeah.
don't want to read about it. I want to explore it as I just
Oh
know
yeah.
I just know that the game was very well reviewed when it came out. Um, and so far everything that the people have, not that I read a lot of full reviews on it, but
Mm.
the what's what I'm looking for the sort of the
The
thrust
hype
of
was real.
the thrust of those articles. Well, this is just a fun game to play, and that's
Mm.
exactly what it is.
That's what Playroom was. Playroom was really fun to play.
Yeah.
Um,
The thing that
I
I don't like about this, and it's actually the thing I don't like about the PlayStation 5, is that bloody controller.
mm.
I don't like the using of it, but also they really, really overdo the audio through the controller in this one. Like,
Oh yeah.
which I just think that's distracting to me. I've got a really nice sound system. I'm hearing more
Mm.
out of the fucking controller than I am out of my sound system because of how loud they've
Yeah.
made it. So it's a bit, yeah. But yeah, yeah. I've played it probably maybe an hour or so, and yeah, I think it's going to be one of those. And the really neat thing about it is like each mission or level is maybe 10 minutes. maybe.
Yeah.
So they're really quick, they're really short. Um, they flow easy enough, so there's no oh shit, where do I go next kind of thing at all.
Mm.
You can replay them because there are, as I said, there are the bots you've got to collect. There's these puzzle pieces, and some have also got this link to a lost galaxy, just another set of missions to do.
Yeah.
Um,
More shit to collect.
yeah, sort of. Well, not yeah, collect and because you always the main thing is to get the astrobots back to the base, so or back to
Mm.
the crash site. Um, so in terms of the progression, it's really neat. And if you need to replay a mission, then there's nothing
Mm.
really. There's no disincentive. To, oh shit, I missed an astrobot. Oh, that's all right. I'll finish this one off and I'll come back and repeat it again because I know roughly where it should be. Um, so yeah, I'm really digging it so far. I think it's going to be one of the ones the game you could play for half an hour once a week, once a night, progress 2 or 3 levels and go right. That's enough for me. I'll
Yep.
move on to something else, and you get a lot out of that little small play session. So yeah, really digging it. The last
I'm
one,
hanging for PC port.
I'm not too sure they will because yeah, I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't. Technically, there's no reason why they
It's very
couldn't.
PlayStation centric.
And I think that's probably why they won't do it. I
The
think.
game director, I think, has come out and said, no, we're not doing PlayStation VR 2, but very interested to hear from PC players.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely be on PC for obvious reasons, but
Yeah.
it's I I think because of the nature of it, I'm not too sure that. Well, I should say this.
For
I'm not too,
some, that would be something lost because it is so PlayStation
yeah,
centric.
and a lot of that stuff is lost to me because I just don't have that nostalgia for the PlayStation, brand and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And a lot of it's okay, that's great. I mean, some of the some of the Astrobots look like Ratchet and Clank and that kind of stuff. They look
Yeah.
like other characters and stuff like that. But um, like yeah, there's not a real lot. That's a lot of it is probably sailing over my head. I just like playing the game, but
Mm.
I think from that perspective, they may not do it just for that reason alone.
Yeah.
Obviously, technically, there's no reason why they can't. Um, other than I think PlayStation are fucking idiots when it comes to PC, but that's another discussion. Um, but they may just go, oh no, PC players won't want this. It's too PlayStation centric or something. No, they just
Mm.
want a good fucking game to play. That's what this is. So yeah. Anyway, the last one's an interesting one. I'm not even sure how even the
Salvatage.
the Thermaturge, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm not really sure. So I saw this on. I was just on my Xbox one day playing YouTube or something, and so there's a demo there. And the demos aren't particularly not particularly. They don't happen a lot on the Xbox, and they don't
Mm.
normally advertise them on the front screen of Xbox either. So that was what was a bit interesting. That's why it caught my eye. So oh, that looks interesting. It's sort of the screenshots are a bit. Okay, it's a top-down Diablo-esque still looking game. So downloaded it and have played it. I won't be going back to this game, but not because it's bad. I just don't like the theme of it all. Um, it's kind of I'm not even sure how to even describe it. So you play as the main character in the cover art there, um, and he is has an affliction, I guess you'd probably call it, rather than it might be disease affliction. I'm not sure how you describe it. Called this word that the thermatage, whatever. And that thing in
Mm.
the background is kind of always hovering around him in cutscenes, like a Grim Reaper style creature. If that makes sense. Um, and he's looking for someone to help him. I think either cure him of it or make it so that it's like doesn't hurt him in some way if he wants to keep this thing. I'm not really sure what his
He
goal
can
is.
escape his box and fuck up the world.
So yeah, so it's an interesting. Like the premise is very interesting. I'm not the game itself is you're doing a lot of walking around like you would in like a like a Diablo style game, but the
Mm.
combat is turn based, and that's kind of what turned me off it a fair bit. Um, and it's kind of almost like it's some sort of deck component to it too. I'm not really sure if that's. As I didn't play a lot of it to really get a sense of it, but it just yeah, the look of it was really interesting. I think the story is interesting. Um, the the voice acting seems really good. Um, I just don't know if I want to play the combat part of it.
Mm.
I think if the combat was either not there or maybe it was a different style of combat that was a bit more engaging is not the right word, but yeah, I just
There's
just
an
didn't.
element of Final Fantasy sort of JRPG to the combat.
Well, not really. Like
That turn-based sort of cardy sort of.
yeah, sort of. Like it is just like the end ones I've done so far have just sort of been effectively no weapons. They're just been fists basically. You hit somebody.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just not too. I wasn't expecting that to be the combat. I'm not too sure what I was expecting because I think I'd never seen the game at all before I even saw it on the Xbox dashboard. But yeah, I may go back to it just to get a better sense of what it's about. But I think if looking at sort of not quite the same you've got, I do have a list of games I want to get to before the end of our Game of the Year stuff. And that this wouldn't be on that list.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued by it, but not intrigued by it enough to actually want to spend time to go back and play it. If that makes sense. It might be
I
one.
mean, it's literally only just hit consoles as well. It's been on PC since May.
Yeah, so it's been out for a
But like
while.
it came out a couple of days ago at the time of recording.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something I probably may go back to, but it wouldn't be high on my list to go back to.
Currently, no demo on Steam.
Interesting. Yeah, as I said, demos are relatively rare on Xbox.
Yeah.
And probably on consoles in general for probably because they're so much harder to to spend the effort to certify a demo for that sort of reason. But to even have it, what was more unusual, you wouldn't see a demo normally advertised, quote unquote, on the dashboard of the console. So that's what sort of piqued my interest in it. But the combat wasn't what I was expecting, but I'm not really sure what I was expecting. So anyway,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting game from a bunch of perspectives. I'm just not too sure it's going to be one I'll get back to anytime soon, even though I probably may deserve that. As I said, I like a lot about it, but the combat just wasn't really what I wanted to play at that time. So
sort of a westernization of that JRPG, that very JRPG style. Because there's that French one, Claire Obscurus 33 or something that's coming out, I think, next year. Which I've almost definitely butchered the fuck out of that name. But that's again very much a sort of dark fantasy, like Final Fantasy almost. But yeah. There's a game that is not on either of our lists. Luma Island.
Oh yeah, Luma Island. Good point. Yes, we have played one episode. Yes.
Yep.
One episode of what do we call it?
Couple of hours.
Season 3, I think, of that series. We called it. Yeah, I think the game's really neat.
I like the look of it.
Yeah, the look of it's great. It plays okay. I think you could probably play that solo just as well as you can play with co-op. Yeah, I think we'll probably do more talking about that game in the series that we're doing. But yeah, I do like
it's neat because it like there's an element to like, and one of the things we talked about in the video a little bit. One of the things was it's not necessary. It doesn't need to be co-op.
No,
there's no element of which you need to help the other person.
Correct. Yeah.
But in some ways, that's also I like that about it to an extent as well. In that it's that thing where you can both sit there, do your little jobs, talk shit, whatever, fuck around, and you're not entirely dependent on the performance of another person. Kind of like Lightyear Frontier.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like it's got a lot from a co-op perspective. It's very similar to that aspect to Lightyear Frontier.
And it doesn't have a fucking annoying voice AI.
No,
AI voice director.
True. Yeah, I mean that game's got a lot going for it. I mean, as you said, it looks gorgeous. I think it looks really nice. It plays pretty damn well.
Yeah.
It's a neat little thing. It might not be so little, might not be so little by the time we get to the end of it because I'm not too sure how much content is in that game. But yeah, that is something that I think we'll try and continue that through the Christmas New Year break just to to keep it ticking over. But
the spiders are fucking terrifying.
I think they've actually patched them, made them less. I spotted that the other day. They patched that game.
I don't know how I feel about that.
And
there's an extent to which I like how fucking terrifying they are.
I don't think they made them less terrifying. I think they made them less dangerous.
That's what I meant. Like the terror for me comes from the danger of them.
Oh, okay.
Because like being able to get nailed once by them and then just die, it's like but also
So let me just check because I just spot because that's been probably the biggest quote unquote complaint about the game is the spiders. What is it? What was that one? Yeah, so spiders
Turn
slash
on around.
ghosts.
Oh yeah, the ghosts are fuckers too.
Spiders and ghost health have been heavily reduced, and
Oh,
spider
okay.
ghost attacks no longer kill the player. Resources are dropped instead.
Ooh.
Which is actually actually not a bad trade-off when you think about it. Like it's still has incentive to not
Assuming
kill.
you don't permanently lose those resources or anything like that.
Yeah, that's implied that they doesn't say either way, but I imply that you probably do lose them completely, but maybe you don't. The spawn rate in the mountain and jungle caves, which I don't know if we've ever necessarily found that one areas,
No,
has
I don't
been
think we're there yet.
changed. And spider sickle is guaranteed to drop when spiders are killed. So the changes are made to spider webs. Resource gathering, they made it easier to smash boulders, ore rocks, and rubble rocks. Not that it was particularly hard in the first place, but I'm not sure.
I think it was just time consuming.
Maybe time consuming. Maybe I'm not sure. This is literally says made it easier to cut down trees and logs. Maybe they made it quicker.
Yeah, they take less hits.
Yeah, maybe they must take less hits. Yeah. Clear cobwebs is now easier. Made trees, logs, and boulders drop more resources.
Fucking hell.
The first upgrade to each tool is now free. That's interesting.
Ooh.
Reduce.
Oh man, I've already paid for it. Fuck. 3 of the fucking tools I've already paid for the upgrade for. God damn it.
Reduce the resource cost for upgrading most tools. They made them a bit easier to get. Reduce the construction cost of multiple craft benches. Reduce the luma energy for requirements for profession recipes, which you probably think affects me more than you. So I don't think you're losing luma. I think I am because of my profession.
Mm. Well, we haven't even seen a Luma yet, so.
Well, I think it's one of the things I've got to do. I think.
Yeah.
Improve crafting speeds for forest, mountain, and jungle recipes. Adding a new beginner task to profession quest to teach. Oh, okay. Added new beginner task to profession request to teach you how to upgrade tools. Okay.
I'm already past that point.
Yeah, I think obviously they're making the onboarding a bit easier by the sounds of it. Increased money for receiving completed profession quests. Increased money received when selling profession items. Okay. And then they made some players. That was a big update they did back about a week ago. And they've done a little patch since then. Which players that have already upgraded tools are now going to be prompted to upgrade them in their existing quest chains. There must have been a bug when they introduced the changes. So.
I suppose we'll find some shit out when we get back to it.
Yeah, but I just spotted that the other day that they made a fairly significant change to having the spider slash ghost not kill you one hit or whatever they were doing and do less damage is a fairly significant change to that game because that was a big component.
Yeah, they didn't end up taking like 4 or 5 hits to kill a spider.
Yeah, but also it was probably the biggest complaint about that game. If you go through the Steam forums, although not the Steam forums are not necessarily the best thing to go by, but it's one of the few tools they've got to get feedback. So
yeah, between that and Reddit,
yeah, they're probably the two.
I mean, you pick your poison both from a toxicity perspective and from an informational perspective.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah,
yes, anyway. That's all I have. That's all I have played. So you've got let's go into the beginning of the end, and then we can do your watch listens. First off, let's go and do the. Not there are many of them, but there are some games in December that are worth talking about. So let me just find.
Don't we do that in the beginning of the end as well?
No, do it now. Makes it easier for me.
Okay.
Coming. All right, let's go back to. Jeez, I have to figure out what's doing that. That's just me pushing the transition button does that. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that's what triggered it. That's weird.
That's weird. Not too sure how I've done that. Anyway, so there are not many games in December that we have on our list. There were more. earlier this afternoon, but I did an update from the IGDB and half of them just disappeared. They
Oh
either went,
fuck.
either went into,
Okay then.
I think some of them went into next year, and some I think might have even had
Oh, all right.
actually had dates that had already been out in some form. The big first one up the list is the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is getting across the board pretty much rave
Very
reviews,
positive.
which is somewhat surprising.
To an
Um,
extent.
to an extent, I thought it might have been, yeah, not too sure. But that's out in a couple of days' time as of recording. In fact, it might even be out, depending where you are in the world, it might be out by the time this comes up.
Mm.
So I'm now looking forward to that. I mean, it's on Game Pass, so we would have got it for
Yep.
nothing anyway. But it was a case of, is this worth trying to play before the end of the year, game of the year? And I think the answer there is probably yes. From what I've seen, it's also relatively short, which is probably a good thing.
Oh
So
fuck yeah.
I think it's relatively short compared to what it could have been like. So yeah, looking forward to that one now. That's out on December
There's a
the 9th on PC and Xbox and PlayStation sometime next year. Oh.
there's a deluxe edition upgrade that's on Game Pass that I bought because I'm a dickhead. Because it's got the DLC mainly for the DLC. Which going by the price, the DLC is probably going to be pretty substantial.
Is it
Because
is it still more content or is it just cosmetic stuff?
yeah, like I think it's called no, it's not called the Great Circle. It's called what the fuck is it called? Where is it? Where is it? Order of Giants.
Okay.
So with that deluxe edition, it got you 3 days early access, which I haven't touched it because particularly game like not online games and games of this type, I don't play them for at least a month or two to wait for patching if needed and stuff like that. And it gets you some cosmetics as well. But it was the main thing for me was getting the for some stupid fucking reason was to get the DLC.
Okay. I didn't think I didn't know they were even doing story DLC for it.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the early access was the main driver to get to pay the extra money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what that's actually going to.
Even though there's some older games that got like Dredge and Remnant 2, both got DLC this year that I've either played very little of or haven't touched. I'm on fire.
Yeah, that's good. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. It looks very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle style looking beat 'em up, which
Yep.
looks pretty decent.
Very, very positive receipt. Not because it hasn't been reviewed yet. Obviously, the reception's not quite there, but very much that comparison between to the Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and it's being done by Digital Eclipse, who are the same studio behind that Ninja Turtles game. I don't know, man. If it does Power Rangers, pretty good.
Yeah. And
I'd be curious who the actual, like, whether or not you get any semblance of who the actual Power Rangers are, or if it's just the colors.
Yeah, but
And does
that is out 10th of December across all platforms. Go on, sorry.
And whether or not Tommy shows up at all, who Jason something, I've forgotten his name off the top of my head. He passed away earlier this year or late last year. And he was the initial Green Ranger and became the Red Ranger, the white one. He's been fucking all over that shit.
The Spirit of the Samurai should probably be a game you put on this list, I'm assuming.
It is very much a game I put on this list. My understanding so far, 2D sort of Souls-like experience. I like the feudal Japan type setting, and I'm generally going to check out most Souls-likes because most of them end up being quite good. And I really dig the look of it too. It has a really nice and really unique. Well, unique is probably not the right word, but it does have that a very nice art style to it. It's got a bit of a Tsushima Neo vibe, which I really like both of those games. And if they go for that Souls-like, the 2D Souls-like style, like Souls and Sanctuary and stuff like that, yeah, sure, why not? Hopefully it sticks to landing. Yeah. Because there's been a few of these that look really nice, and then you see either reviews or you play them, and it's like, oh man, whatever, fuck this. Which ends up being a bummer.
Yep. Now, the only reason first dwarf is on this is because it still has a 2024 release date for the other platforms, but it's been out on PC for half the year. I have bought that game. I've not played it for a while, so I may get back to it. But yeah, that's what's on this list. And the last one, that's it. That is the last one we've actually got.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah, I know there's more games coming this month. But to think of the ones that I'm super keen on that are coming out, if I had them on there before and they're gone now because of different release date changes and things like that, I got nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, as the Indiana Jones was the one I was most intrigued by.
Yep.
But it's coming out. All the reviews are, pre-release reviews have been very glowing. So, that's the only one on that list that I would probably really look at.
Yeah.
There are some games that have already come out that I'll get back that I want to get to that are relatively new, but yeah, that's where that's where I'm at with most of that stuff. So, all right, let's go head into the beginning of the end.
Maybe. There we go.
So, you had some must-listens, all yours.
I do indeed. I'm not going to say too much about most of them, but the Browning, which is not as nice a sounding name for a band, but they had an EP a few months ago. They've put out an album called Omni, which basically has that EP and about twice as many other songs on it. I really dug that EP, and that album is really good as well. A band called Starve, Life's Promises Die. I need to listen to that another couple times, but I put it down because it was instantly like, oh man, this is good. Netherlands deathcore band Distant with Tsukuyomi The Origin, which is and this has been a trend for this that I've noticed a lot this year. Bands going back and re-recording their first EPs and putting them out either cleaner or adding a bunch of songs to it and stuff like that. This is that. And I dug what was on that. Very heavy, very good. Astral Emptiness, which is kind of like a dreamy sort of deathcore. It mixes like sort of atmospheric dream sort of elements with that very guitar heavy guttural sound, which is great. The only way that this band can be described is quote unquote MySpace deathcore, which was that original, which the sound has evolved over time, but very old school in its form. Reverent, with a 3 instead of one of the E's. Last Trace, and an album that came out a couple months ago, Knocked Loose. You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to. Got rave reviews when it came out. I listened to it then, I was like, eh. But then they performed on Jimmy Kimmel with Poppy, and that stirred some shit. And I went and re-listened to it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see why people were hyped in this now. There's like a super blistering heaviness to it that many hardcore bands don't pull off. But yeah, people got up in arms, much like with Gojira playing the Olympic opening ceremony. Part of it was, how dare you put heavy metal and satanic music on my television? And my kid saw this and cried. And it's like, why the fuck is your kid up watching fucking a late night TV show? But yeah, few of them there, but very good, very heavy. I was going to say mostly different, but not really. Most of them are deathcore style. So, but yeah. Oh, but yes.
All right, so you'll also have, so in terms of wrapping up, so you've got your Twitch streams that you'll do on Friday and Saturdays potentially, at least Friday, maybe Saturday.
Mostly Friday, Saturday. Holiday hangouts when I'm trying to play stuff to catch up for Game of the Year.
Yep.
I'll fire that up from time to time as well. Twitch.tv/Enemy Starship, but definitely on the Fridays and Saturdays. And because I don't have work anymore on a Friday as of now, I'll be starting on Fridays earlier.
Yep.
And yeah, going from there.
Yep. I'll keep pulling through and pulling out Solo Factory episodes over the Christmas break. Yeah, currently working on episode 31, so that's probably about it, really. We've got one.
So, Vidi?
Go.
I was going to say video next weekend.
Yep, we'll have a checkout video next week of some sort, or maybe a back to Limit Island, or both, maybe, as many islands as time we've got.
Mm.
Having a podcast episode after that, and that will probably do us for the year, I think, in terms of...
Because I thought we were wrapping next week, and that we weren't going to do the week after that. But
oh, that's probably when... Yeah, and we can... I think we do one more podcast. I think we do one more podcast for the year. And we can wrap up the year, and then... yeah, that'll be the last one we do. Or the last thing we do.
Mm.
Until probably in the early new year when we'll come back and do some more Limit Island or something. But yeah, the next podcast after that in the year will be our Game of the Year one.
End of January, roughly.
January, give or take, end of January, early February, depending on when it all works out.
Mm.
And that's a wrap. So, thank you, Steve.
Hey, Joe.
That has been the end of that. That has been the Should I Play This Game podcast for 9th of December 2024, episode 1312 in the books. Till the next one, peace out, goodbye.